Welcome, 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 Atlanta Falcons, Braves, Bulldogs, Atlanta United, Atlanta Hawks fans. Basically, everybody, every Atlanta sports fan out there, welcome. Not only welcome, but welcome to the movie and TV show fans because today we are making history. That's right. We are doing the first combo show. Myself and Mr. Scott Karasik. Brother, how you doing? Everything all right? You
I'm
good?
doing good, man.
That's what's up. So today we are doing a show. Kevin can bleep himself. And we're also going to talk about these Falcons and these godforsaken Atlanta Braves who
Oh
lost
man.
a 6-run lead in the fifth. Oh my man. 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 But first, Scott, we do have something that's new to the show. T. Will's got a new theme song, and he's going to take it out for a spin. So we're going to be back in about 1 minute, and here we go.
Late night vibes, we're turning up the heat. T-Will on the mic, can't accept defeat. My ATL sports show, he's running the game. Atlanta Falcons fly high, you know the name. In the heart of the A, where the pride runs deep. From the Braves to the Falcons, he's keeping it real, no sleep. He's got the scoop, every player, every play. Bringing the thunder every single day. T-Will, shining bright. On the airwaves, bringing sports tonight. Atlanta heart with the soul so free. My ATL sports show, it's the place to be. T-Will, taking flight. Falcons and Braves, yeah, we're feeling right. So bring that energy, let the city resonate. With T-Will on the mic, we're gonna celebrate.
All right,
I like
ladies and
that.
gentlemen, thank you. That was the debut of our new or my new theme song. That the video was done by Chris A1 Forever. So thank you, Chris. And the song was done by my best friend in the world, Lamar Johnson. Go ahead,
Oh,
Scott.
okay.
What you got?
I was like your best friend in the world, Kirk Franklin. Like,
Ah,
like, come on, man. Well, not on me. Like, what are we doing here? Best friend
hey,
in
it
the world.
wasn't me.
What? Like,
I had nothing to do with it, man. All I did was sit here and look fat. Lamar is my best friend going back to high school. Look, I met that dude at 14 in biology class. We did a rap together on lipids, of all things. And we've been best friends ever since, man. So very talented dude. And thank you for that. Appreciate that. And brother, we got so much to talk about. So, Scott, about 2 weeks ago, you said, hey, you do these movies, T. Will. Okay?
yep.
You do these movies. How's about
You do
we
it.
get together and do a show on Kevin Can Bleep Himself? And I'm going to be honest with you. When you said that, I thought, what the hell? What the hell? Kevin Can Bleep Himself. Yeah,
Yep.
right. All right. Well, I do a show with the guy, so at least I got to check it out. But I'm not looking forward to it. And I'm speechless, guy. I'm speechless. I'm totally speechless. It was a great, great, great show. Very well done. So
Oh,
let's get into it, Scott. I'm gonna have you introduce it since you introduced it to me. I'm gonna have you introduce it. Tell us about the show. Give us the premise because we got to get into it, Scott. We got to dig deep, man. We got to dive. Let's talk about it. Kevin
so
Can Bleep Himself on Netflix.
it's similar to a show like Kevin Can Wait or like King of Queens or Everybody Loves Raymond on the surface.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole point of the show is, hey, this is the sitcom world. This is how this guy sees himself. And then you see the darker underpinnings whenever he's off screen.
Right.
And that's where the real show begins.
Right. Right.
And it's such a great show. Like even down to the lighting and how the lighting tells a story throughout the entire series. You notice his light starts to get dimmer and her light starts to brighten up a little bit to where hers isn't so dark. It's more in the middle. and his starts to go from bright, 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 bright to dim at the end. Like it's fantastic. It's one of the best shows written wise I've ever seen. The girl that plays Patty in the show is one of the writers and one of like the lead writers for the show, by the way. So this is like her concept. She's technically one of like the 3 creators of the show. I think this is a very true story that got kind of released to the world that probably shouldn't have been released for whoever her Kevin was. I'll put it that way. Like, I think there's some truth to this story, and maybe he didn't die or anything, but he was that guy, if you will.
The names have been changed to protect the innocent. Is that what you're saying, Scott?
I think so.
Yeah. So the show is actually a satire on modern day comedies in which you've got a goofy husband and a goofy aloof older brother, and the woman cleans up everything and gets blamed for everything. And it's to Scott's point, it's genius the way they do it, right? Because when the show starts, there's this campy comedy. Hey, Kevin, let's do so and so. And I got to be honest, the first scene, I'm like, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you really get into it. And you find out in this first episode that this is Kevin and Allison. Allison is the wife, the main character. Kevin is the asshole. I'm sorry, antagonist. I'm sorry, husband. Who's talking about their anniversary, and he has a what do you call it? A regimen, a tradition of every day, every anniversary, kind of making a mockery out of it and doing something that she doesn't want to do, and they go through this routine.
Yep.
And she is just so over it. And the lighting, it's campy. It's you get this Archie Bunker, Kevin Can Wait, Al Bundy feel when Kevin and Neil and his dad are all on screen. You get that. Now away from that is the reality, and it is the reality of Allison, and it is much darker. And it plays because I didn't notice it until they did it probably the second time, and I was like, "Whoa, what is going on here?" Right? And essentially, Allison is left to clean up all of Kevin's messes. And what happens in the first episode is she finds out that Kevin has spent all of their savings on something that happened years ago and didn't have the respect to let her know. Right. And
he's been spending it.
Yeah, he's been
over
spending
and over again on dumb shit
and schemes and things. Oh, and by the way, Kevin is an idiot. Well, Kevin is kind of a paradox. He's kind of a dichotomy in that he is an idiot, but he is an extreme manipulator, an extreme narcissist, and capable when pushed. Kevin is a great critical thinker. Now, a lot of his schemes end up worse and worse and worse, but the one common theme is anyone around him is going to be consumed by the fire that is Kevin, right?
Yep.
And ultimately, at the end of the first episode, she makes the decision, you know what, this isn't, I gotta kill him, right? I can't take any more of this. Kevin is a moron. This is ridiculous. I can't take this. He's got to go, right? And this is a theme with all of the women lead. Like, you can tell whoever wrote this show is a devout feminist. Oh, yeah. Okay? Because all of the men, not all of the men, yeah, well, most of the women in this show who have men in their life are basically a version of Kevin. They might not be as exaggerated. They might not be as selfish. They may not be as manipulative, but they are a version of Kevin. So
E-
Kevin is just
Even the owner of the store, right? The owner of the liquor store, her
yes,
husband
yes,
is kind of a Kevin, kind of an abusive type.
right, right,
The whole
right,
thing that they don't show us is that Kevin is abusive,
right. He would have to be.
and
He would have to be.
he would have to be because her response is not that, like, even in the sitcom in the beginning, her response, I was like, he's abusive, and she's showing all the signs of abuse. Like right away, I picked up on that because I'm like, Kevin is kind of an asshole. He's abusing her in multiple ways, but like I don't know how deep it is. I think he mentally, physically, all of that abused her because she had no friends. She had all of her money in the account with him. Like, just that's mental, that's financial. I think he physically abused her at some point. Like, there was a lot of abuse there that wasn't being shown because they wanted to keep up the campy nature of Kevin for a little bit. But
Well, I think that I think you're onto something, and I think you're 100% right. I think when we see Kevin, I think that's her reenactment of it. That's in her mind,
oh,
and she's pushing out the abusive part.
so I think that's in Kevin's mind.
It could be. It,
I
it,
think
it
when
could be. It
I
could
think
be.
when Kevin walks in the room, that's how that looks. That's how
Okay.
he sees the world. And he's
Okay.
such a narcissist that everything becomes the sitcom around him.
I can see that. I
Because
can see that.
when you meet her mom's very much the same kind of thing. It goes from dark and sad and funereal because they're at a funeral
Right.
to, oh my God, it's mom.
Right.
Like,
Right.
when the mom walked in, I clicked right in that and I was like, oh my God. Like, her mom's kind of like my mom in that respect. But sitcom got shattered. And her sitcom got shattered as well.
Yeah.
Like the mom sitcom, Kevin's sitcom got shattered for Allison too.
Yeah.
And
It definitely did.
Oh yeah. And can we talk about how Annie Murphy just absolutely killed it in this role? She's amazing.
Yes.
Like, she was great in Schitt's Creek as a comedic actress.
Mm-hmm.
She showed she can do drama with this. Like,
And Annie Murphy plays, tell the audience.
she plays Allison.
Right.
And then she also plays
she's,
Alexis on Schitt's Creek. And she's just fantastic. I love her.
She is. She's outstanding. I mean, just this show is about her, and it is really about the transformation that she goes through from being abused, underappreciated, devalued, to I'm just not going to take this shit anymore, Kevin.
Yeah.
And getting back to the theme of every man in this show in a woman that we see's life disappointing them. The cop who investigates them has a partner who is sort of a, well, for lack of a better term, just an asshole. But he manipulates her into doing something illegal early in her career, and she's stuck with him. Right. Yeah. And what is not said is that he probably would use it against her. So she had no choice but to do it. And he probably did it to the partner before her. Right. Then there is Patty, who is the neighbor, who is basically the tomboy, the tropey tomboy next door person who goes along with everything that the guys say because she just wants to be liked. Right. It's what's unspoken is the, well, don't say anything because the guys won't like that and you won't be popular and they won't like you. And this is her to a T. And even down to the fact that she talks about food or makes fun of food that she loves, but because they don't, she doesn't eat it. And it's interesting. Looking at the arc of Patty, right? Her life is all about Neil. And Neil again is a bumbling idiot. He can't keep a job for more than 2 weeks or whatever. She has to pay all of his bills, and he worships Kevin. So it's kind of like the blind leading the blind. And he does not see that Kevin doesn't care about anybody. Now, in season 2, in the arc of Neil's character, we begin to see it. But a lot of this movie, a lot of this show is about the dynamic between Patty and Allison. Yeah. And in the beginning, Patty kind of gives Allison a problem. She teases her. She laughs at her. But the more she gets to know her, the more she sees herself in her, and the more she realizes that, you know what, Neil and Kevin are really shit. Because it's Patty who opens up and says, all your savings is gone.
For sure. But you also notice that with both Patty and Neil, they go from the sitcom to Patty right away has a darkness whenever she's away from the guys.
Yes.
Neil, he takes some time, but he develops his own darkness.
He does.
And they don't say it many times in the show, but Neil's a felon. So Neil has trouble finding work that will actually accept him.
Right.
And that plays a big part into his kind of shitbaggery, if you will, as well.
Yeah, Neil's a follower, and Neil is essentially being used. Kevin uses everyone in his life. The entire world exists to please Kevin. That's literally. There's so many lines where he's like, "Shame on you for getting in the way of my shoe," like that bad. Like maybe it wasn't those exact words, but the care and consideration that he gave Allison was something you would give an ant walking by. Like like Allison exists in his world, and that is her only purpose. There is a scene where Allison and Patty go out of town because they're trying to score drugs so they can make money so that I believe Allison can pay the hitman or whatever. But because Allison does not answer Kevin's calls, Kevin reports the car stolen. And I think I reached out to you during this episode because this is the episode where I was like, I want to kill him.
Yep.
I want to kill Kevin.
Again, abuse, control.
Absolutely, 100%. 100%. But here's the thing. Go ahead. Yeah. Here's the thing about Kevin, right? So when he does this, you know, Allison is like, okay, or whatever. And she tells this story of how when she got this job, and she loved this job. You know what I mean? She had been at home since Kevin had worked, and she loved this job. And the manager was like 60 something. And obviously this was years ago. So Allison was much younger, right?
Yeah.
And Kevin got jealous and just assumed that she was sleeping with the guy and came down and punched the guy or fought with the guy or something. And then went after the guy afterwards and got her fired. And what she said is, it was the one thing that I had for myself, and he couldn't stand it, and he took it away. And it's almost, when she's telling the story, it's sad. It's sad because she says, this is the one thing I had in my life that just wasn't about him, and he took it away. And the more that we see of Kevin, the more we realize that he's not a bumbling idiot. He is an idiot, but he's not an idiot in that he's very manipulative. I
wouldn't say he's an idiot. I would say he's immature.
Incredibly.
I would say that's really the thing. He's immature. Incredibly.
Well,
you know, like he burns the pig because he falls asleep during it. And then he gets mad at her because she had to go do something and came back and still sat out there at the fire with him. If I was her, I would have been like, have fun. This is a you and Neil thing. Like, I really don't give a shit. And just walked away. And I guess for me, like, I don't understand why he would need her there. Other than him being a controlling asshole. Like, there's so many things that's just, he's a controlling asshole who doesn't trust his wife that at this point he'd been with for at least 10 years.
I don't think Kevin trusts anybody. I think Kevin had a need for control of everything and everyone in his environment, right? Every year they go out for his birthday. Let me tell you how selfish this bastard was. Every year they go out for his birthday. I could not believe this. Like, the more you watch this show, the more you're like, Kevin can't go any lower. Oh wait, he just did, right?
Mhm.
And I'm watching this, and every year for his birthday, he goes to 2 dinners simultaneously. And this is why I say he's stupid, because he really believes that he's fooling his wife. Like, they've done the same birthday dinner for the same 10 years. Somebody's gonna figure it out. Okay. And the fact that Kevin does, yes, he's a narcissist, but he's also an idiot. Okay. He's a brilliant idiot. He's a dichotomy. He's brilliant in other areas and stupid in others, right? So he has this scheme where he takes his wife to essentially this restaurant, and then what you would call a Chuck E. Cheese next door. It's not a Chuck E.
Dave and Buster's,
but it's like a Dave and Buster's type thing, right?
yeah.
And so he sits down with his wife, orders dinner, and says, "Hey, I left something in the car." Runs next door to sit down with his friends and spends the entire night going betwixt the two, which is ridiculous and something not even a teenager would do. That's something an 8-year-old would do, right? So you're right. He is emotionally immature, but I just feel like there's a part of him. There's a part of Kevin that's brilliant, but there's a part of Kevin that's very stupid. And it's just interesting watching this whole thing play out, right? And so Allison finally does make an attempt on Kevin's life. And she's talking about it. You said what?
And it does not go well.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't go. And that's the other thing. Because Allison is new to this, she and Patty just make it worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And it's funny at how things, even though things are bad, they tend to work out for them. Right, which is kind of not reality. That's where this is kind of a TV show, because they probably would have been in the real world. They would have been, you know, they you don't get that lucky that many times. Like, you'd have probably been, somebody would have been arrested. Somebody would have been arrested. But you know, then you wouldn't have the show. So, final episode, Patty and Allison are talking. Final episode of season 1. And Allison admits to trying to kill Kevin and it going badly. And idiot Neil was in the pantry because he was literally playing hide and seek. This is how stupid Neil was. And he had been there for hours. Like, he ran off and what adult man, what red-blooded adult man is gonna do that? Like, that is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It really is ridiculous. But anyway, you know, he runs off, and finally Allison goes into the kitchen and opens the door, and Neil is like, "I heard what you said about Kevin, and I'm gonna tell him." And they start to struggle, and he starts choking her. And Patty comes in and hits him over the head. Now, I don't know what his crime was, but I wonder if it was against women. And the reason I say that is because as soon as she sees him choking Allison, Patty assumes the worst. And that's her brother.
I think it's more she saw where the hand was and all of that.
Yeah.
And was like, this ain't, like, I don't give a shit if you're my brother. If you got your hand around the neck of a woman, I'm gonna smack you around. Like,
right.
I think it went more in that direction. Okay. But at the same time, I think his crime was violent.
I think so. Yeah. I'm not saying he raped anybody, but it would not surprise me if I don't
think it was violence against women or domestic violence.
We don't know.
Because Neil has trouble holding down a woman in general. And finding a woman in general. So I think it was more along the lines of maybe it was like assault and battery, something like that.
That's a good point.
And then because he was only in jail for 5 years, like that's more of like an assault, like a heavy assault charge kind of thing than anything else.
That's a good point. That's a good point. So Patty sees it, cracks him over the head, and season 1 ends that way, and they're like, "Oh my god!" And so the arc of Neil in season 2 is basically after the hit on the head, him grasping, him slowly coming out of this fog, right? Because in the beginning he wants to protect Kevin, and he tries to tell Kevin several times, but Kevin is such an asshole and such a narcissist. He doesn't listen.
He doesn't believe him.
He doesn't care. He doesn't believe him. He doesn't believe him. And,
no one believes Neil. Neil tells everybody. No one ever believes Neil.
Right. And this, but this is the tragic part of his character. It's the personification of who you are speaks so loudly. I can't hear what you're saying. Nobody takes him seriously because, to be honest, he's a fuck up, and he's been a fuck up all his life. And nobody's going to take him serious. And it's sad because he's telling the truth, right? But this causes him to look inwardly at his life. And the arc of Neil's character is that he begins to see just how full of caca that Kevin is. When Neil gets home after going to the doctor and having his head shaved, Kevin shows him no empathy and begins to crack jokes. And Neil really sees, like, this guy doesn't care about me at all. And Neil worshiped Kevin. That was the dynamic of their relationship. Neil worshiped Kevin. Neil thought the world of Kevin and really thought that Kevin thought the world of him. And what Neil realizes is everything that Kevin does is not altruistic. It serves a purpose, right? The thing I love about this show is they really poke fun at the tropes. You know, the tomboy girl next door, i.e. Joe from Facts of Life. The doting wife who fixes everything. You know, Archie, you could say Edith from All in the Family, you know, covering up for everything that Archie did. You could certainly say Kevin Can Wait's wife.
Or King of Queens, that wife.
You know what I mean? There's a clear trope that, okay, this woman fixes everything. She's the object of her husband's ridicule. And just they really focus on that trope. And it's an interesting mix. I think the total, what I really loved about it was the juxtaposition of the comedy world and then Allison's reality. And as the season goes along, Allison's world becomes brighter and brighter, and Kevin's world gets darker and darker, which is kind of the writer denoting that as Kevin, as Allison begins to really get a backbone and start to think for herself, Kevin's power is reducing.
And towards the end of the series, you notice she starts talking back to him and everything.
Right.
Like, what the fuck are you going to do to me?
Right.
You haven't already done.
Right.
And it's just like, oh shit. Right in front of his dad, right in front of Neil, everything. And the fact of the matter is, I don't know if you've gotten into this in your notes yet, but like when she fakes her own death and they can't find her, yet the cop finds her, said she spent 2 weeks looking for her and found her.
Right.
Like the cop's like, yeah, I found you real easy. Like, wasn't that hard?
Well, you can see in this show, and I'm again, I gotta be fair. I gotta be fair. You can see the writer is clearly not a fan of men. She's just not.
I mean, I don't think that's the case.
Okay. Give me one redeeming guy in there who's not a complete idiot.
I'll be honest with you. I think Neil was one of the few guys in there that was redeeming. And I think towards the end, he was on a path to redemption. Because he fell in love with the liquor store owner. He fell in, he realized, hey, I'm kind of a fuck up. I need to make my shit better. None of the other men in the entire show had that kind of feeling, except for Sam, the owner of the diner.
I forgot about Sam. Okay, yes. Okay, Sam's the exception. Sam's the exception. But
Sam's like the one good guy. Even Kevin's dad was a decent man.
Kevin's dad was an enabler.
He was
Because
an
he sees
enabler.
Kevin. He sees Kevin. He sees the cat. I mean,
until the end when he said,
just leaves.
Like, fuck you, dude. I'm moving to Florida. I don't need to deal with your bullshit anymore. I got this cool girlfriend. I like her. I like her a lot. I don't give a shit that she's got a weird laugh. It's kind of funny to me. Like, makes me laugh. So screw you. I'm off to Florida with her.
I think as a dad, you know,
he could have called him out more. I agree with you there.
Correct. And it should have been way before that. And again, just to get into what an asshole Kevin was, Kevin devises a plan to get rid of her because now this is Kevin's dad and his wife's died, and you know you would think as a child Kevin would be happy. Not Kevin. No, because he doesn't like her laugh. He actually he takes her hearing aid, drops it in some coffee. And figuring with Kevin's logic, well, if she can't hear jokes, she can't laugh, right? And yeah, to your point, I think that was the dad's way of saying, you know what, Kevin, yeah, F you. I gotta, you know, I gotta go, and I'm not giving you the address. And again, it's the interaction with Kevin, so it is kind of campy, but the impression that you're given is, no, he really doesn't want Kevin to have the address. Who doesn't want their son to know where they're going? But his son is such a manipulator and such a user, it's almost like, no, I don't trust you, so I'm not even giving you the address. That's deep for a dad. Like that's pretty deep. Yeah. I think so. To me, there's so much going on in the show, like with Patty and the cop who developed their relationship, the cop being female. We realize Patty's gay, and Patty's probably always been gay.
Well, I think Patty's more bisexual.
Okay. See, that's the reason I say Patty's gay is because she could never commit to the man in her relationship. She could never commit to him. Like, it was there, she did it, it was something to do. But I feel like it was just what was expected of her to do. And again, this is theory. I could be wrong. This is objective. But to me, it's like when she met the lady cop, she was glowing about her, and she did things that she would not even think about doing for the guy she was dating. Now, maybe she didn't love him, and maybe she is bi or fluid or whatever the term is nowadays.
I think that guy was more of like I mean, he wasn't even the best of guys. Like, I would say character-wise, he was probably fine, right? That one guy was probably perfectly fine in terms of personal character, but he had no ambition. He was perfectly happy being the guy who sweeps up the drugstore.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, perfectly decent dude, just no ambition to make his life better. No ambition to make more money. So that's probably part of the issue with him. Again,
that's one way to look at it. That is one way to look at it.
The thing is, though, every character in that show was rounded in some way where they weren't perfect.
Yeah,
even
nobody.
I
agree with that.
Deep flaws.
I agree with that. Yeah,
Patty had her deep flaws.
Right.
The detective girlfriend, she had some deep flaws that were kind of controlling in her own way. So, I mean, everybody's got their own flaws. I would say one of the least flawed men in the shows was the guy who was the drug dealer that got shot.
Yeah.
And messed up as this is to say, like, he comes off as one of the least flawed people.
He does. He really does.
He's a drug dealer. He's about his money. Like, okay, he had a compass and where it stood and what he would and wouldn't do and what he had wanted in life. He had ambition. I mean, in terms of all the different characters in the show, he might have been the least flawed.
Could have been. Could have been.
You know,
That's interesting.
I mean, that's one way to look at it. Like, yeah, again, he's a drug dealer. He's a piece of shit, but he owns that he's a piece of shit.
Right. Right. Right.
I mean, again, from internal character wise, he probably was not a horrible. I mean, again, total piece of shit drug dealer would probably kill somebody, but at the same time, like, that's the worst thing he does.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I agree with that. One thing about him, it's to me, he came across as, look, it's black or white. It's this or that. There's no ambiguity. It's this or that. This is what it is, and it makes sense. Let's get into the final episode, the divorce episode.
Yes.
Where she tells him, hey, man, you can go fuck yourself. Kevin, I want a divorce. It is what it is. And he says, I will. I've been laughing. This is the one moment that was funny because he was so disgusted. It's like, he's like, I gotta go. I will destroy you. But it was so, again, because it's the campy part, it was so dynasty-like, you know. It was so young and I will destroy you, and it had no effect on her. And she was like, "Do what the fuck you want to do, dude. Do what you want to do.
I'm done. Like,
I'm
it's gonna
done.
happen.
I'm over it."
And then he goes in to like tackle her or whatever, like pin her up against the wall, and you're like, and then the campiness drops for the rest of the show. At that moment. Even when she meets the new girlfriend, right? And she tells the new girlfriend everything. And he's like, I can't get a hold of her. And my dad's moved away and this. And like, oh, thank God you're back. Oh my God, you're back. Holy crap, you're not dead. Like, but it wasn't like, holy crap, you're not dead. It's like, oh, hey, she's back. Fuck.
I mean, Kevin, look, people exist to please him, but what I thought was so interesting about that moment is that when he had no one left to control, when he was by himself, he lights a fire and goes to sleep. And I just think subconsciously he didn't care. I mean, look, you could argue, you know, maybe he did know, maybe he didn't. But I feel like he low-key just didn't care and gave up because he had no more followers. You know, Kevin is the ultimate attention whore.
Yep.
And look it, you know what I mean? To quote Apollo, Stallion, when there's no more war, the warrior may as well be dead. Like, you know, Apollo, that ain't us anymore. We like regular people now. It's from Rocky IV. But basically,
I knew what you were talking about.
Yeah. Basically, you know, Kevin just offs himself, and you could argue that he was drunk and he fell asleep. And you know what? I hope my kids don't see this, because what I'm about to say, I'm kind of ashamed of.
He deserved it.
Spirit of honesty, I'm going to say it. I was like, yes, finally, die, Kevin, die. Now, I was not as happy as I was when Jeffrey died in Game of Thrones. That was an unnatural, unholy dislike. And I gotta say, even if I go back and watch it today, it gives me joy, as I'm ashamed. I shouldn't feel that way.
See, my Game of Thrones guy for that's Ramsay Bolton, because I thought he was way worse than Jeffrey.
I hated Joffrey. Jeffrey was a bastard, man. Jeffrey's gonna be like, he takes the spike of her dad's head. He tormented, what's her name? Cersei?
Sansa.
What was her name?
Sansa Stark?
Sansa. And don't even get me.
But Ramsay Bolton, to me, was even worse.
Which one was he? The king with the dogs?
Yeah, the one with the dogs.
Yeah, I hated him. He was my second. Okay.
Yeah.
He was my second. I was glad when he did
those two characters to me were the absolute worst. Like, to me, Cersei, like, at least had some moral compass, but
yeah, Joffrey was a bastard. I was so glad when I gotta be honest. I gotta be honest, Scott, and I'm ashamed of this.
But yeah, when Kevin lights the fire on the house on fire, and
So I have to be honest. How many times did you watch the death scene, Scott?
I probably rewound it a couple times.
I watched. I watched it 20 times. I know. I'm not proud of it. But I was glad Kevin died. I got to get it out. I was glad he died.
It was also funny how they did it.
I just was glad he died. I was like, thank you, God. Oh my God. Like I was ready for Kevin to go. Okay. And I know I'm wrong. God forgive me.
No, not really.
But yeah, man. I hated the guy. Oh, I just hated him. For me, it's the stuff that he says, like, how dare you get injured and break your arm while I'm waiting on you to bring me tea, or just shit. Like, it just would be, he would say stuff and I would be like,
how'd you get caught by the cops when you were supposed to be right behind me?
Right. I freaking hated him. But anyway, we got to do some house maintenance. We got Craig, hashtag free carry in the chat. What's up, everyone? Looks like Kirk is staying with us, so I hope he has his number 2 pencil sharpened and water bottles filled. Kirk gonna look like a yard ornament standing on the sidelines. Well, Craig, you don't miss, buddy, and you didn't miss there. Carrie says, hey, T. Will and Scott. Whoa, I joined the show at an interesting time. Laugh out loud, not sure the topic. So, Carrie, we were talking about the show Kevin Can Bleep Himself, which is on Netflix. Hey, I found it interesting. I think it's a great show. Scott thinks it's a great show. So
I'd highly recommend it.
If you get a chance, take a look at it, and hey, let us know what you think. But we're going to move on now. Scott, thank you for that. And that was, hey, man, just a great show. So if you get a chance, check it out. Great show. So, Scott, we got to get into this, Scott. It's unfortunate, but it's our job as sports content creators. Sometimes we got to broach ugly topics, Scott. It's what we do. You know, we are.
You talking about the Braves?
Yes, Scott. I'm talking.
Yeah. and how they lost like 5 of 7 this week.
Not only that, but the coup de grace, the straw that broke the proverbial camel's back, is today. The Braves were up by 6 in the top of the 9th inning, and Iglesias gives up, 7 runs. 7.
Well, Blewett gave up 4 of them.
You said what?
Blewett gave up 4 of them.
Yeah, Blewett. Blewett was how apropos. He blew it. This bullpen is in disarray. This team is in disarray. I do not know where we go from here. And before we get into it, we got to do fact or fiction. So, but it is inspired by the Braves. So you guys know it's going to be depressing. Good. Number 1, the Braves will finish the season above a 500 winning percentage. Fact or fiction? Scott, what say you?
I say fact. This team is too good to keep spinning their wheels the way they have.
Are they?
Yes, there's too much talent on the roster. At a certain point, something is going to click with this lineup. And as long as the starters keep doing what they've been doing, we're going to start seeing better starts. We're going to start seeing better games from everybody. Eventually. The question is, does that happen before game 81? I don't know. But for right now, I still believe that this team is better than what they've shown. I also think, now this may seem a little bit crazy, but I think that they need to get rid of like half the bullpen and just go heavy in trades on the bullpen for that to happen. So as the roster is currently constructed, it's fiction. But I think by the end of the season, there's going to be some trades. There's going to be a bunch of moves that they're going to make to fix this fucking bullpen and get their shit right. Because that's been the biggest weakness outside of not scoring runs that this team has had. The runs will come.
I got a question for you. Fact or fiction, the Braves make the playoffs?
Fiction. They're too deep in a hole right now.
Okay.
If they make the playoffs, big if, they're going to be bounced early anyway.
Fact or fiction, the Braves will trade for a starter, bullpen pitcher, and left fielder / shortstop.
So I'm going to go fiction on left field because what's his name comes back in like 20 games. Profar. He's back in like 20 games. So he's going to take over in left field, and that's going to be that. I think he'll be back. He'll be fine. He might not hit as well as he did, but he'll probably still hit like 260, 325, 480. He's a good slugger. I don't think that's going to be an issue. I think shortstop might be where they make a move. Maybe a guy like Trevor Story, if the Red Sox go into sale mode. That could be a guy who they're like, oh, yeah, let's see how he hits in Truist Park full time. Because he had a great couple of games here, and he always hits well here when he was with the Rockies. Like, let's just see how he does. I think that could be a very interesting signing or trade for them. I think left field's kind of solved. As far as bullpen, completely redo the bullpen. Call up Kimbrel. I think they've already called up Kimbrel at this point, but call up Kimbrel. Call up Dodd. Get rid of, God, what's his name? Montero. Maybe get rid of Blewett. I wouldn't get rid of Blewett, but I think they might have already done it, which, again, would be stupid because Blewett was solid outside of this one outing.
He was.
I don't know where they go from here. I know they're going to trade for a couple guys like in this bullpen. If they believe that they have a shot at the playoffs, they're going to make those trades, and they might make them in the next couple weeks to right the ship earlier, before June, before the end of July.
Snit will finish the season. Fact or fiction? Snit will finish the season as the Braves head coach.
I'm going to go, and I hate saying this because I'm on the fire Snit bandwagon, but I think fact. I think he's already told them, like, hey, I'm checked out. I'm done. This is my last year. And for him to get fired in his last year, they're just going to be like, nah, I mean, it's his last year under contract. Like, he's told us it's his last year. Let's just be done with him.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. And the reason I say that is because, I know for the past year and a half, I'm noticing a pattern with Alex in that I'm going to say one thing and I'm going to do another. There's a clear pattern of I'm going to say, hey, we love Jorge. Jorge's going to be here. Jorge and Ozuna can be in the back, can be on the team together. First day of the offseason, traded. Okay. Payroll's going to go up. Didn't. We're going to keep all our coaches. Didn't. I think Alex is panicky a little bit. And I feel like you could see a move in the next week. Now, it doesn't mean it doesn't mean it will. Who am I? Right? I don't know. But it would not surprise me. Because this today was bad. This was as bad. You have a 7-run lead going into the 9th inning. That is unacceptable. Craig says who would replace it? Probably Walt Weiss.
Yeah, Walt Weiss.
Probably
managerial experience.
Yeah.
And he got the most out of some really terrible Rockies players.
Yep.
When he was with the Rockies. Like, Walt Weiss is a good manager. He was just given essentially a 30th placed roster. And he somehow finished 25th or 26th with them every year.
Yep.
Which we have a top 10 roster. So if he can finish 5th or 6th every year, I'd be okay with it. I'm okay with making the playoffs every year, even if we lose in the playoffs, right? I don't care. Because to me, just getting there is hard enough. You get there, and it's a fucking crapshoot if you're going to win.
Absolutely. 100%.
Because are your best guys having their best days against these other guys' best days? And are you like that's all it is. Like now after this year, I don't know. They could look at Ron Washington. They could look at bringing back, or I mean, I really don't know. I don't know baseball managerial pipelines very well. I don't know other teams' coaches and who they are.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not that plugged into baseball the way I am with football
Mm-hmm.
in terms of that. Like, I know the next offensive coordinator that's getting hired for a head coaching job in football. I don't know that in I don't know who that guy could be in baseball.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. Carrie says, would we bring Ron back if we try to hire a manager at the end of the year? I'd love to have Ron Washington back. I don't know what his contract. Typically, they give managers 4 or 5 year contracts, but I mean, if the Angels suck again, maybe the Angels fire him and the Braves. I'd love Ron Washington, and honestly, I think Ron Washington would be a surge of energy because one thing about Ron's gonna hold you accountable. And Ron has the relationships with Ronald Acuna, with Ozzie, because he were there when they were babies.
With Harris.
With yes. And he would put, as the young folks say, foot to ass. And I would love that move. I don't know if it's gonna happen, but I would love that move. Let me ask you a question. Is Iggy done? Is he done? Is it horse glue factory for Iggy? Is he done?
Yes.
In a word, yes.
Yes. I mean, I've been saying the last 3 weeks, he needs to not be the closer. He needs to be the 7th inning or the 8th inning guy like he was back in 2022, 2021. Whenever they got him, he was the 7th or 8th inning guy. He wasn't the closer. The last 3 years of him being the closer has not been the best results because he gives up too many home runs. Like, he's not a closer.
All right. Well, hey, we got some new folks in the chat. Let's see. Craig says, okay, Carlos says, season can't get here fast enough. I think he's talking. I don't know what he's talking about, but yeah, I think he is. Carlos says, oh, yeah, we talking Braves right now. Craig says they better not try Freddie as manager again. You know, I'm be honest with you. I thought about that. I hope they don't, but the thought did cross my mind. It did. Go ahead.
Freddie Gonzalez coming back to be the third base coach right now would be like the Falcons hiring Arthur Smith to be the offensive line coach.
Mm-hmm.
They put him in a position where it's like, listen, we know you used to be the head coach of this franchise, but you're not running shit. Your job is to take care of this one spot. You're not a head coach. You will never be the head coach here. You will never be the manager here. You're great at this one thing. So we're going to keep you at this one thing that you're actually good at, and that's it. It'd be like the Falcons hiring Dan Quinn as a defensive line coach. Although Dan Quinn's a pretty good defensive coordinator. It'd be like the Falcons hiring Jim Mora to be their defensive backs coach.
Okay.
Or Bobby Petrino to be the quarterbacks coach. Like, that's the equivalent of Freddie Gonzalez as the third base coach. He is a position coach. He tells base runners when to go. That's it. He helps Austin Riley prep and Nick Allen prep for games. But that's all it is.
Infield.
But it would be Walt Weiss.
Right.
Walt Weiss would be the guy. And honestly, I'm okay with that because Walt Weiss had some of his best years as a player here. I love Walt Weiss as a coach. I think Weiss is probably one of the better bench coaches out there. To me, the real issue with the Braves right this second is that they're not hitting well and their bullpen can't hold on games when they are.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And that's the two things that are really the issues. Well, the bullpen issue is an arms issue. Who do they have? The hitting issue is just digging deep into it. They're getting good contact. There's a lot of BIP bad luck going on. I think the bats will turn around eventually. But right now that looks like shit. And that's going to turn around. As we've seen with today's game, they've got that potential in them every game. They can get the hits. So I'm not worried about whether or not we have the talent to get the hits on, like, in the roster, in the lineup. We have it. We have guys. Every single guy in the lineup got a hit today.
Yep.
So I'm not worried about that aspect of it. The talent side. It's, can they just put it together?
Yeah.
And I think they can. So
your mouth to God's ears, buddy. Chris Davis, guy I played softball with, friend of mine, used to work with him a long time ago. Chris says, hey, think long term, Ron. Uncle Ron is 73. A good point. He's basically saying they've been done, either the Braves or Snit or Iggy, probably Iggy. Chris says they will hand it over to Walt Weiss. Craig says Dan Quinn would be the only coach I would welcome back to Atlanta. T. Terry says, what's up, fellas? Chris says, now what about Freddie being old school? Remember the young Marlins and then young Braves didn't like his stifling ways. Yeah, I don't think I shudder to think of it, but I don't think so. But guys, I'm just gonna give you the mood of every Atlanta Braves fan right now. I saw this in a post earlier, and this is pretty much how, after today's collapse, epic collapse, this is how every Atlanta Braves fan feels. This is reminiscent of the 70s and 80s. I never thought I would see this again, but I saw this on a post, I think ironically from Chris Davis on Facebook. And yeah, man, it's crazy. Chris Davis says, hey, hitting is a philosophy overall. Runners on second and third go with the pitch and go the other way. Exit velocity means nothing if you're hitting it right at folks. I tend to agree with that. Scott, we are at the section of the show where we show clips from last week. So as I was doing this, I came upon some clips of you and I from last week, and I thought they were entertaining, so I thought I'd share them. So here we go. Here's the first one. Speaking of the Braves, we got to get into it.
it's time for Smith to go in.
Say what now?
It's time for, like, you ever see a coach like this? Feels like Bobby Cox's last year, right? Like, it's just like, you know what? It's time. It's time for Snit to go. It's time to get a new, just someone who's not even from the Bobby Cox coaching tree involved.
Yeah.
Get a new way of doing things here.
All right. As you guessed it, the entire segment is about the Braves. Here's the next one, Scott. Say is more to blame for this team's current status? Would you say it's Snit or would you say it's Alex?
I mean, you know who Snit is, but there's probably 10 games they've lost because of Snit's just really piss poor coaching decisions.
11.
Piss poor bullpen management.
11. Okay. I'm just saying.
Now it's probably 13. For me, there's so much of Snit just making that one wrong move that has led to losses this year. Like, even today, right? Daysbell was the right call to send out there, but the minute he had a second guy on base, you should have already had someone else in that game. I know you've got to hold get your guys ready to go and everything for the doubleheader, but you have Dodd, who he went to. You had a lefty up. Like, he should have pulled Daysbell like a lot sooner than he did.
And the last one, you guessed it, about the Braves. And we see what happened. And actually, Dylan Dodd didn't look bad. Came in, mop up duty, got him out of it with just the one run, and everything's okay. But to me, looking at Snit, there seems to be a lack of energy. He just seems tired. You know, even in the interviews, right? Like today, they interviewed him. They asked him, well, what happened with the stolen base there? And his response was, well, we should have been able to steal it. You know, the time was there. I'm told he got a bad jump, but I've never seen him do that to anybody, especially Ozzy. Like I've never, like he low key threw Ozzy under the bus, right? And that to me is
low key threw the grounds crew under the bus. He low key threw pitching under the bus. Like at a certain point, he just doesn't have it, nor does he care to have it.
Well, there you have it. Looks like nothing changed in a week, guys. You know, I
expecting it to. Snit is who he is.
I kind of was. I just felt like, and maybe I'm in fantasy world, but I felt like we would turn a corner, and we just don't appear to be doing it, and we just don't appear to have a remedy. And it's, I don't even know. Like I'm not negative Nancy. Look at Snit has spent over 40 years in our organization. Sprint also helped it. Snit also helped to give us our second World Championship, and I will forever love him for that. But I just feel like he's tired, you know, and no disrespect to him. It happens, you know. I just feel like he's over it. And I just don't know. I don't know what their next move is. I don't know. Craig says, let Bobby Cox in a time man, put Bobby Cox in a time machine and make him 30 to 40 years younger and fire him back. Yeah, I don't know that Bobby could deal with these young cats. Bobby, I don't see that.
I think that's the issue with Snit right now is he can't deal with the young guys.
Yeah. Well, I think he's just over it. I think he's just tired. And look, he's been working there 45 plus years. At a certain point, you just want to sit down, man. I get it. Chris Davis says one big tell that Snit is checked out when Strider had to sprint to let them know that AJ was hurt. Yeah, that's a good point. All right, guys. Mercifully, we're going to shift gears to our beloved Atlanta Falcons. Yay! All right, let's go. Come on, guys. It's not going to be bad forever. These things are cyclical. Well, no. You know what? First, let's do some Falcons Jeopardy. My bad. Falcons Jeopardy, everyone. So, Jeopardy, obviously, when you answer, you have to answer in the form of a question. So this is not only for Scott because he was not made aware of the questions, but this is also for those of you in the chat. So first Falcons Jeopardy question. Deion Sanders was the first player to do what 4 times in career Pro Bowls? Deion Sanders was the first player to do what 4 times in career Pro Bowls?
What is return touchdowns?
Close, but no.
What is touchdown dances?
No. No.
I mean,
that's a good answer, but no. Oh, Craig says, what is show up late? Oh, Craig, come on. What is Deion known for other than returning stuff? He's known for
interceptions.
There you go. What is interceptions? There you go. All right. Next question. What is Julio Jones' real first name? What is Julio? There you go. Great.
I don't know how they got Julio out of Quintoris Lopez Jones, but
I have no idea. But hey, man, I'm here for it. All good. Hall of Famer. Last but not least, which Super Bowl was played in 1999 between the Denver Broncos and the Atlanta Falcons?
That was 33. Or what is 33?
What is 33? There you go. Good job, Scott. Good job. All right, let's get into these beloved Atlanta Falcons. So today we find out that Aaron Rodgers signs with, you guessed it, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that is no longer an option. However, we did hear that there is another rumor that the Falcons are trying to trade Kirk Cousins to the Colts. So first and foremost, Give me your thoughts on Rodgers going to the Steelers. Let's talk about that. Give me your thoughts on it, Scott.
I was putting money on him retiring, so
Me too.
I mean, it's still possible because it's Aaron Rodgers and he's he learned everything he knows from Brett Favre. I mean, honestly, that's the only other thing I can see. It kills an opportunity for Kirk, but honestly, it's probably a better opportunity for Kirk to go literally anywhere else.
Probably is. It's interesting, man. I don't think it's gonna work, but whatever. That's up to them. I don't care. They're Steelers. We're Falcons. I hope we can trade him to the Colts. I hope we can trade him somewhere. Look, I'm just ready for it to be over. I'm ready for this dance to end. I'm tired. My feet hurt. I know I came to this dance. I'm ready to go home. I feel like my wife is over with her girlfriends talking in the corner. I've texted her 15 times. I'm ready to go, and she's ignoring me. That's how I feel right about now, Scott. I'm over it. I'm over Kirk. I'm just ready. I'm ready to move on.
Where's the rumor to the Colts coming from? I'm just curious.
Was it Albert Breer? I think who kind of inferred it.
Okay.
Kind of didn't come out and say it. Just
Breer's pretty checked in. Breer would know.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Steichen's offense is from that same it's more Andy Reid tree, but it's all from that same Bill Walsh playbook, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he had his best years with Kevin O'Connell in a McVay offense.
Mm-hmm.
But Kevin O'Connell didn't have him do as much of the moving around that he would have to do in Robinson's offense. Because Robinson designed this offense for Penix. And Kirk was running it. And it's kind of obvious that that's what happened. And I think this is going to be rough to say, but I think Steichen designed his offense for a Joe Flacco type.
Oh,
and
wow.
I think Cousins would do very well in that offense.
Okay. Hey, it makes sense to me.
Very similar to what they'd run. Because do they really want Daniel Jones to be the quarterback?
I don't think so. Yeah, and that was Breer's point. That was what you just said was his exact point. Was that Anthony Richardson is more hurt than they've let on. That he's really hurt.
And Daniel Jones' contract is that of a backup.
Right.
Not a starter, a pure backup.
Makes sense.
And that's okay.
Yes.
And if you send him to the Colts and you can get because the Colts might be a little more desperate than they let on too. You can get a 4, and you pay $17 million of his salary. Who cares, right? It's $10 million less than what you got to pay him already. And then you go out and sign, old Carson Wentz for $4 million. Boom, there you go. You got a pair of good quarterbacks here still. You got probably about $6 million less on the salary this year, but next year, so much less. $32.5 million more opened up. Year after that, $57 million opened up. So you open up $80 million of future cap. Sorry, $90 million of future cap. Doing the math in my head. $90 million worth of future cap opened up that you can spend on Drake London, Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts, your offensive line, shoring up the defense even more. You hit on some of these draft picks that over the last 3 years on defense, and this defense gets to average. And honestly, this may sound crazy. You get rid of Kirk, get rid of that shadow, get rid of the reason why they lost 5 games last year that they shouldn't have lost. Very different team this year.
Agreed.
And honestly, 100%. Just want to throw this out there. In the games that weren't part of that shit-ass stretch from Kirk, because that's what I'm going to call it from here on, it's the shit-ass stretch.
Shit-ass stretch.
Shit ass
stretch.
Yeah.
Say that 5 times. Shit ass stretch. Okay, sorry.
Yeah. That shit ass stretch from Kirk of 1 touchdown and 12 interceptions and turnover and fumbles. Like,
oh, yuck.
That stretch that lost 4 straight games and almost lost the 5th to the fucking Raiders. Yeah, that stretch. Once you get rid of that stretch of games, the Falcons scored 26.4 points per game.
Yeah.
So me saying, oh, they're going to score 27 points a game this year.
It's not a stretch.
Doesn't sound crazy. Also, when you factor in, they lost 15% of their scoring on field goals this past year.
Mm-hmm.
Going from 87% to 72%. What's 15% of points on field goals in a year? It's 1.6 points per game.
Okay.
So this offense with a competent kicker, a competent quarterback, should score
28.
at least 27 points a game.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, you could get crazy and say, oh, yeah, they could score 28, 29, 30. That's the high end for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm thinking where they should at minimum be is 27.
Baseline. I got you.
Anything more than that is great.
Yeah.
They should, on defense, they allowed 24.6 points per game last year.
Mm-hmm.
NFL average is 22. If they can just have an average defense allowing 22 points a game, and they have a 27 points per game offense, which would be 11th last year, they're winning 11 games this year.
I can see it. I can definitely see that, man. And I'm here for that. I love it. I like it. I love it. I can't get enough of it. Especially as it looks like our Braves aren't going to deliver. So go Falcons, go Falcons, go Falcons. Last but not least, Craig, you are
one more thing.
Mm-hmm.
The Kyle Pitts trade rumors. They're not coming from inside the house. They're not coming from the Falcons. The Falcons aren't putting that out there to try to get higher offers from teams. They have no interest in trading Kyle Pitts.
Who you think putting that out there?
I think that's coming from Philly.
Okay.
I think that's coming from San Diego. Or sorry, the Chargers. I think that's coming from potentially even the Chiefs. We're all like, oh, we would love to have Kyle Pitts here. I'm sure you would. But you wouldn't love to have him there for more than like a 5th. Okay. I said all offseason, unless the Falcons get a 2, they're probably not trading him. Unless they get at least a 3 and a future consideration with conditions where it could become a 2, they're definitely not trading him.
Okay. That's fair. That is fair.
Like, it's that simple. Pitts is not leaving Atlanta, and he's been working out with Penix all offseason. Let's just, no. Pitts ain't getting traded.
Yeah, I don't think so either. However, Craig is fan of the day, and I'm going to tell you why. Because Craig has a crackerjack memory and a wicked sense of humor. So Debo and I got into this discussion. We'll call it a discussion for the purposes of this discussion. You may call it a passionate display of whatever.
You fought. I get it.
I call it a discussion. It was a discussion.
You fought. It's okay. It's okay to fight sometimes.
So, well, here's why. Okay, because I made a statement. And in the moment, it sounded great. Because I was caught up in the euphoria of imagining my beloved Atlanta Falcons winning a Super Bowl, and I made this statement. Now, I have to stand behind it because I made it, but I will give you the logic behind it, right? So what I said was, because I was caught up in a thought, and I was like, what if our beloved Atlanta Falcons, Scott, what if February the 15th, our beloved Atlanta Falcons hoist, I can't even say it, hoist the much bandied about, the much heralded Lombardi Trophy They win the Super Bowl, Scott. Okay? I made it a decree, a suggestion, a thought, if you will, that whoever the quarterback is, his number should be retired. Now, I know it's a bit much, but I'm thinking of the fact that if we win the Super Bowl, our franchise is now legitimate. We are no longer the butt of 28-3 jokes, and we can tell the Saints to read between the lines. Jordan, I love you. That's not for you. But for your Saints, read between the lines. Okay? So I said it in the spirit of that. Okay? Now what? What took place after that was Debo mocking, right? And it has since become the sorts of what we call Monkeygate.
I don't think any jersey number should be retired, period. So
let me finish the story, Scott. I got to tell you.
All right.
So the reason this is funny is because they were like anybody, any quarterback would have won the Super Bowl with the Ravens defense. They said Ritter would have won, which I retorted. So you're telling me a monkey could have won the Super Bowl? And they were like, yes. and what has come of that is called Monkeygate. So this joke, when he says Kirk Cousins is the only quarterback the 2000 ratings couldn't win a Super Bowl with, is funny in the context of that. That is why he is the fan of the day, because he does stuff like that, and he's freaking hilarious. Now, again, you didn't see it, so it's not funny to you, right? But it is funny. It is funny. Nevertheless, we got to go. Let's see. Jordan, what up, Jordan? Craig's still rocking. Free carry, respect. Yeah, Craig is funny. Jordan, I can't change it like for a week, according to YouTube. So you know the story behind free carry, right? You know the story.
Oh, yeah, and I saw when she got freed. She got freed before our show.
Thank you. That's all I'm saying. Get them there, Scott, okay? Because Jordan and Eric Parker and Debo Vibes are still giving me shit about it, and it's almost 2 weeks later, okay?
It's fine. She's out of the basement.
She is. She was never in the basement. Right, Carrie? You were never in the... No, I'm kidding. Anyway. Hey, man, Scott, as always, man, dude, this was fun. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for referring the show. We got to find a new show to do. Okay? So I trust you now. I'll let you pick it. All right? And we'll I mean, look, the first one was a home run, dude. You knocked it out of the park.
I know, but now I'm like, is he going to be disappointed if I give him a single?
You're like the pressure.
Like, are you going to be mad if I give you a single? Because I'm like, I might.
No, it's look, I do this for I love three things, right? I love the city of Atlanta and all of its sports teams. I love movies, and I love my wife and my kids, man. And so if I get a chance to talk about movies and TV shows and sports, we're good, man. Every show isn't going to be that. And guess what, Scott? It's not your fault. You didn't write the show. It's okay.
I actually might have one for you.
All right.
Do you have HBO Max?
I think I do, or at least my daughter does.
Have you seen The Righteous Gemstones yet?
I have not. I've heard it's funny.
That's the show.
All right, cool.
And
give me 2 weeks, because I got some stuff coming up. But give me 2 weeks.
Totally fine.
We'll get into it.
It's got like 36 episodes total.
Oh, yeah, it's gonna be a minute.
And the average episode's between 30 to 40 minutes.
Okay, that's not too bad.
It's not too bad. Again, I'm never gonna be like, hey, watch this. It's a grueling watch for these, because that's not fair to you.
No, it's all good, bro. It's all good. It's
The Righteous Gemstones is easily one of my favorite shows, and they film it in Charleston, a city I lived in for 8 years. I recognize so many different places that they have there. Like one of the one of the shopping malls where they go and try to do a deal in the parking lot. I'm like, I know that parking lot. That's where the fried chicken lady used to set up her food truck. Like that, it's that kind of spot. But the Lord of the Rings, dude, don't make me pissed off. Like, I hate the Lord of the Rings. I can't tell. Like, the books were great. I could not sit through those movies. I felt like Jay from, or not Jay, like Randall from Clerks 2. When I was watching it, I was like, oh, so they walk, they drop a ring in, they walk home. Like, just absolute waste of time.
I like Lord of the Rings. I like it. That's long though, but I like Lord of the Rings. I'm a nerd at heart.
I feel like you could fast forward through a good like 3 hours of every movie, and just that's how long the movies were. They were like an hour.
They were long. They were
like 4-hour movies, and you could have cut them down to an hour 30 and actually had the same amount of action.
They were long. But I enjoyed them. It was okay. It was all good. But either way, all right, Righteous Gemstones. Let's give it about 3 weeks. Sounds like a plan. Scott, do me a favor. Tell these folks where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter at Karasik S. As the season starts coming back, the football season starts coming back, and the guys over at Draft Professors are getting done with their summer scouting stuff, I'm going to start going over there as well, doing some podcasting with them. Variety of topics, but some of it's just going to be like, hey, this is basic ethics, or hey, this is the cap. Hey, this is this. And this is what you should do in this situation. Like, hey, here's how you should approach players in real life and not be a jerk. Like, just that kind of stuff. Because we see too much of it, and we're just like, we want to talk about some stuff that other people probably aren't talking about.
Awesome. Well, hey, man, I can't wait. I can't wait for it. I'm excited about it. Let's do it. You have supported me, so of course I'm going to support you. And hey, man, I can't wait so I can check it out. Jordan says, we're rocking for the rest of the year. Free Carrie for the rest of the year. Whatever, Jordan. Craig says it's weird she's not on the show. So Carrie, a lot of times, has duties at home. She's got stuff she's got to do in the evenings, days and
mom.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, she's probably just taking care of her kid. Like,
she's got mom duty. She's
let her take care of her kid, dude.
She's got stuff to do. Jordan says Carrygate. Craig says you should do the Lord of the Rings. Oh, okay, we got that one already. We got that one. Craig says the only thing that pissed me off about the movie was Fredo being a total bitch the whole time. Wow.
He's a total bitch in the books.
Okay. Carlos says Glass Unbreakable and Split. Yeah, I did. I did.
That I could probably do.
I did like that. And maybe we should. Maybe we should.
Yeah. Those I'd be willing to watch because I love James McAvoy.
Yeah, me too. Incredible.
I've seen Glass. I haven't seen Unbreakable and Split.
You got it. Well, hey, so you know what?
So
let's do that. What 3 weeks? Maybe July. Maybe July we'll get it.
Yeah, we'll do that in July. That works.
All right. That's what's up. All right. So hey, to everybody who joined us, thank you. We appreciate that. Cannot thank you enough. Mom
duties being there. No, dude, she's in the chat today. Are you kidding me?
Craig is giving me shit, man. Because let me tell you something. That's the same thing Debo would do. That's the same thing Jordan's doing. That's just what they do, man. And if my brother Eric would do it, he would be the king of it. So, hey, man, it's all good. It's fun. Craig, hey, man, love you. Jordan, love you. Carlo, love you. Carrie, love you. Love everybody in the chat. I really appreciate you guys. Scott, this was fun, man. As always, I just appreciate you, man, doing these podcasts with me. And I like what we're building, and let's continue to do it. I want to thank God for giving me this opportunity and sending me you guys in the chat and sending me Scott and basically sending me everybody that's done this. Hey, you cannot do this alone. And I'm just so appreciative. I cannot thank y'all enough. I couldn't do this without y'all. And I really thank y'all. Last but not least, I want to thank my guy, Jack Spade, and my brother, Eric Parker, for helping me do this. You guys have an amazing day. And yeah, I will see you guys here probably tomorrow. So you guys have an amazing evening. Thank you, everybody. Hey. Okay. We just had such an amazing time. What a show. I enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it. I think you enjoyed it. But either way, how are you going to do that and not hit like, share, subscribe? I mean, we were having so much fun. We can come back and do it again. Go ahead and hit like, share, and subscribe. For My ATL Sports 1 on YouTube. Say again, it's For My ATL Sports 1 on YouTube. Or grab the link below. For My ATL Sports 1 on YouTube. Go ahead and click like, share, and subscribe. And guess what? You can come back to the next show or the show after that, or maybe even the show after that. But if you don't like, share, and subscribe, there could be shows that come out that are great that you just miss. And you don't want to do that, do you? We had such a great time. Come on. Hit the like, share, and subscribe button. You guys have a great day. Thanks so much for watching our show. And we can't wait to see you again. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We thank God for you and we appreciate you. But hit the like, share, subscribe. Until next time, goodbye.